man the things God hath prepared them blind, but revealed them unto us by his Spirit.
Psalms chapter 17, verse 15. As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness. I shall be satisfied when I awake with thy likeness. Shalom Yasharala, peace Israel. Call Halayim La, Alahayanawa, Abanawa, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. All praise to our power, our Father, Yahweh, in the name Yahushai, in the name Holy Spirit. Double honor to our elder apostles and elder bishops, Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to your hopeful elect out there. You brothers teaching this word in truth and in sincerity, okay? Yahweh Shai will make it like him. Yahweh Shai will make you hopeful elect out there just like him. He's gonna make you just like him, and he's gonna give you everything in due season, okay? I'm reading the scripture again, and then I'll get another. Just gonna read two scriptures in the Psalms. Psalms chapter 17 and verse 15 again. As for me, and this is Psalm of David, and we know King David was an Israelite. Or should I say he is an Israelite, okay? So this verse right here is only for the Israelites, beginning with the elect. Those are part of the house of David. Because King David himself, he wrote this. Psalm 17 and 15. As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness, meaning you will behold this truth. Okay? This truth is the Lord's face, his image. You're looking at his face in righteousness by you understanding this truth. Okay? He opened up your mind to receive this word. You understand and believe in the true proper name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh. You understand and believe in the true proper name of his beloved Son, Yahushai. You know that we're the Israelite, so our Bastanos and Native Americans. You understand this truth. So you're beholding his face in righteousness, meaning you're understanding these scriptures. I shall be satisfied when I awake with thy likeness, meaning when you're changed. When Yahushai returns to this earth, he's gonna quicken you. He's gonna give you life. When you receive that new body, it's like you're waking up for the first time. Totally refreshed, totally new, totally rejuvenated. A whole new world, a whole new life. That's how it's going to be when you receive that immortal body. You will be satisfied when you awake with his likeness, meaning you're going to be changed and you're going to be just like him. Because he is the perfect model. He is the archetype. So for you hopeful elect out there, you're being made into different versions of Yahushai. When he returns to this planet Earth, he's gonna make you just like him. First, he gave you this truth. You have his truth by way of his death and resurrection, because Yahushai had to die for us to receive this truth, this word. So you're beholding his face by you looking at this word. So you see Yahushai all the time. You see Yahushai by way of this word because he is the word. He comes in the volume of the book. And the more you get into this book, the more you're becoming like his image spiritually. And when he returns to this earth, physically, you're going to be like him. Physically, you're going to be changed. And you're going to receive that new covenant. The law, statutes, and commandments will be in your mind. You're going to be programmed to do righteousness. Okay? You will have the law, statutes, and commandments downloaded within your brain. You're going to be satisfied when you awake with his likeness, meaning when he returns, he's going to beam you up, deliver you, and you're going to be just like him. And he's going to give you everything. He will give you everything, man, because he himself received everything. Now, this is Psalms chapter 16, beginning at verse 9. Therefore, my heart is glad. Now, this is Yahweh Shai speaking in the spirit. Now, these are Psalms written by our beloved King David. But a lot of these Psalms, you hear Yahweh Shai in the spirit. Therefore, my heart is glad and my glory rejoiceth. Talking about Yahweh Shai.
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rakah HaKadosh. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessing salutations to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. All right. And what I want to get into today, okay, this morning news and prophecy, the deal, with the brain chips, okay, and more news, there's quite a bit going on since yesterday. So I got a few videos I want to get into, all right, dealing with the happiness and the latest, okay, because what we're seeing, this devil is rolling this thing out, man. Esau Edom is rolling it out. Okay, he's doing a lot of piloting, okay, of, digital systems, okay, UBI, okay, brain chip, interface, the Neuralink. And this is the technology, okay, that John the Revelator seen. He's seeing what we're talking about and reporting on. This is what John was seeing, and he described it the best that he could. He was describing future technology, okay, with ancient terminology, okay, a charagma, charax, something impaled in you. He's seen people being impaled with devices, man. He's seen, all right, people getting brain chips, okay. This is what John the Revelator was seeing, all right, and now these things are speaking. We're here. They're happening now. These things are being implemented, okay, which shows you what that he is, all right. So let's get some precepts. And so then I got a few videos I want to go into. Okay. So let's go here to let's go to Habakkuk. Let's start out there and get straight to the point in verse 3. And this is in the AMP. All right. This is Habakkuk 2 and 3 in the AMP. It said, for the vision is yet for the appointed future time. Okay. And we're in that future time. When Habakkuk was receiving this vision, okay, he was speaking of what, a future time. So all the visions that our forefathers seen were all for a future time, even us waking up. Us being in America, the dead bodies, then we will be revived, a valley, of dry bones being awakened, by the Rakah HaKadosh, by the Spirit. That was for an appointed time. Each prophecy has its appointed time. Okay. We will wake up decades before the MOTB will be made mandatory, before World War III. Okay. The spirit of life started to enter into, okay, the elect of Israel, decades before these things will happen, because every prophecy has its appointed time. Okay. But we're here now. Now we at the doorstep of the kingdom. You see, that's why this ain't the time, okay, to be caught up and petty back and forth and confused and scratching your head and in these gray areas. Now we got to double down in what we believe. We got to understand what we believe. This is the time of sound doctrine. And the Lord just has a wave of edification going forth. in the midst of all, the false doctrines and apostasy, and Jake, intentionally causing confusion. Well, there's a great wave of edification that's going forth. All right. And this is the time for us, hey, ride the wave. I'm being more edified than ever, from the videos that's going out. Okay. Responding to, particular things. Because this is the time to be more edified than ever, because we're right here at the doorstep of prophecy, man. Okay. The kingdom is right here. Because right after the MOTB is mandated, Jacob's trouble in World War III is the kingdom. Okay, everything has its appointed time. All right, so we're in the appointed time where we're seeing, okay, this devil, all right, roll out, this new world order. He's beginning to test things and make certain things operational. He's beginning to pilot certain things. Okay, which we're going to get into it. It said, for the visions yet for an appointed time, it hurries towards the goal of fulfillment. It will not fail, even though it delays. Wait patiently for it, because it will certainly come. It will not delay. So for the longest, we've been speaking of these things, and it just wasn't speaking. Okay, it just we speak of the MOTB, and that's why Jake was able to mock it. Okay, but now, okay, when you speak about the MOTB being something else than what this devil is rolling out, all right, you look like a jackass now. Okay, you look crazy as hell trying to break down the MOTB as something other than the RFID microchip. All right, that other than what this man is, if you try to break down the MOTB outside of what this man is doing real time, okay, switching over to this digital system, okay, then you look crazy as hell. Okay, because now these things are not delaying. All right. And that's why we were speaking of yesterday. That's why you keep hearing this term acceleration. Acceleration, AI acceleration. Okay, biometric acceleration. Because now these things are not delaying, they coming with it. The devil is rolling it out. Okay, as we're gonna go into. Okay. But it's all shows that he is. Everything that we see happening shows that he is. We was told of these things, man. These are prophecies that are thousands of years old. Okay, that are now speaking. Okay, this is Isaiah 46:9. It says, remember carefully. All right, it's Isaiah 46:9 in the AMP. It says, remember carefully the former things which I did from ages past. For I am the Most High, and there is none else. I am the Most High, and there is none like me. Okay, and the Most High separates himself, okay, through prophecy, man. He separates himself by speaking on things thousands of years before they happen. Now, sometimes, things happen, within, like you read the scripture, there's certain accounts where prophecies happen, that day. Prophecy will happen in their lifetime. And then there's certain prophecy that doesn't happen for thousands of years later. Okay, and that's the Lord showing that he is. All right, the transatlantic slave trade was spoken of in the book of Deuteronomy. That didn't happen to thousands of years later. Okay. You see, Deuteronomy 28:68, the middle passage. You see? But then you also have nuclear destruction. Okay, those arrows are spoken of in Deuteronomy, man. And now we're in the time where those arrows, okay, are prepared to go. Okay, these nations have these arrows in those silos, man. And the arrow and the missile, and these missiles, these ICBM nuclear missiles, which prophecies prefer to arrows, you gotta think of it. Those nukes, okay, that's in those silos, that's like an archer, with the bow already bent back. They just gotta be released, because the missiles just gotta be released. So you gotta think of an archer, when he pulls back that bow and he's just in that position, and all he gotta do is release to let that arrow go. Well, that's how these missiles are. Because if they're in those silos, all they have to do is be released. That's like the archer already pulled back. You see? So the Lord, all right, spoke these things up thousands of years ago, man. And now all these things are speaking, okay? Because the headline of prophecy is the MOTB being mandated, Jacob trouble in World War III. This is the headline, because in World War III, Yahweh Shah returns, okay, which is the ultimate headline of prophecy, man. The second return of our King, Yahweh Shah. Okay, it said declaring the end, all right, declaring the end and the result from the beginning. You see, the Most High declared these things from the beginning, and we're seeing it speak now. We're seeing it play out exactly how He said it would play out. Okay, Esau has no choice but to do the microchip, to put it in your hand or your forehead. He has no choice. Okay, the Lord made it to where that's the best place for him to put the MOTB. All right, because of how, you know, the guy that helped make it, you know, he said they were looking for a place to put it, you know, to keep it charged, you know, where your temperature fluctuates, because that's what keep, you know, the device charged. And the best place was the forehead or the hand. Okay, that gets hot enough to keep the device charged. Okay, you see, showing you, hey, that and see, the Lord before the world was all these things. Okay, see, the Lord just pressed play from the beginning, and then everything started to play out how He set it up from the beginning. That's why He's able to. That's why the Lord's able to tell you this is. It's like if you've seen the movie 100 times and you're watching it with someone who hasn't seen it. Okay, you able to thoroughly break down what's happening, this going on, that going on, this character, that character, background of this character. So you're able to thoroughly break down that movie because you've seen it 100 times. But this person that hasn't seen it, okay, then you're like a prophet unto them. You see? So you read the Bible, it's written from a perspective from someone who's seen the movie play out. Okay, and they're telling us particular parts of the movie and how it's going to play out, man. Okay, because the Most High is from the outside, He's on the outside looking in. You see, we're within His existence, man. You see, so that's why He's able to declare the end from the beginning. Okay, it says, and from ancient times, the things which have not yet been done, saying, my purpose will be established, and I will do all right, and I will do all that pleases me and fulfills my purpose, man. So the Lord is doing His pleasure in the earth, man. Okay, it's His pleasure to have Esau ruling right now for His purpose. It's His pleasure to have us in captivity for His purpose, man. You know, because remember, Yahweh Shah was made perfect in suffering. Okay, we're being made perfect in suffering. Okay, so we got to go through this phase. Everything is playing out according to the Most High's will, man. And He has a much bigger plan, all right, than America and some goddamn New World Order, all right, or Edomite New World Order. See, the plan is much bigger than that. This is just a phase of it. Okay, and everything is working for the favor, okay, of the elect of Israel, man. Okay, everything is working for our favor, man. So all the wickedness that the devil is doing in the long run is working for our favor, man. Okay, because this devil is gonna uh this devil is making it to where after 1,000 years of captivity, man, these heathens are gonna appreciate a righteous kingdom. After existing in the kingdom ran by Esau, man, the earth is gonna appreciate a righteous kingdom. After dealing with this hot mess that Esau, all right, has established in the earth, man. Okay, so let's go from there. And let's go to this video first. All right, with this brain chip. Okay, and say John seen these things, man. Okay, and this is what these devils are getting ready to push, that if you don't do this, okay, you're going to be left behind. Okay, this is what the devil is going to be on. If you don't do this, you are going to be left behind, man. And see, I'm gonna let it play. And then we'll discuss some things. You know, your brothers post precepts. You know, as you see fit. You know. Uh, yeah. So let's play this.
Imagine a world where your thoughts aren't just your own, but a stream of data, readable, writable, and potentially hackable. This isn't a Black Mirror episode. It is the reality currently living inside the skull of Noland Arbaugh. Noland, Neuralink's first patient, calls his implant Eve. He uses it to play Mario Kart, study neuroscience, and browse the web, all without.
I missed that, man. I missed that. You know, he called it the you know the Neuralink Eve, man. You know, the brain chip. He called it Eve, man. God damn. Let's run that back, man.
Currently living inside the skull of Noland Arbaugh. Noland, Neuralink's first patient, calls his implant Eve. He uses it to play Mario Kart, study neuroscience, and browse the web, all without lifting a finger. But while the headlines cheer for the medical miracle, and it is a miracle, something much larger and more complex is brewing in the background. We are witnessing the start of an arms race that will redefine our species, and most people are completely missing the scale of what's coming next. Today, we aren't just talking about Elon Musk's latest gadget. We are dissecting the most critical convergence in human history, the moment our biological minds merge with digital intelligence. Let's dive in. The narrative you see in the mainstream media is about helping the paralyzed walk, but the real story is about geopolitics, cognitive supremacy, and the end of privacy as we know it. Right now, there is a three-way war for your brain. In one corner, you have Neuralink aggressively pushing the boundaries of invasive surgery, with plans to not just restore movement, but to restore sight with their upcoming Blind Sight project. In the second corner, you have Synchron, backed by heavyweights like Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, betting on a minimally invasive stentrode that slides into the brain through the blood vessels. No open skull surgery required. And in the third corner, perhaps the most significant of all, is China. The Chinese government has just launched a state-backed blitz with their Beina 1 chip, aiming to implant massive numbers of patients by next year. They have explicitly stated their goal is to lead the world in brain-computer interfaces by 2030. This is where the AI-brain paradox begins. The technology is sold to us as a medical necessity, restoring dignity to those with spinal cord injuries or ALS. And for patients like Noland, who is now seeking a second implant to potentially regain leg movement, this is life-changing. But we have to look at the long-term roadmap. Musk has been transparent about the endgame: cognitive augmentation. The goal is to increase the bandwidth of human communication so we can compete with artificial intelligence. The argument is that without a high-speed connection to the digital world, humans will become obsolete house cats to AI overlords. So the paradox is this: to save humanity from being replaced by machines, we must become machines. Let's play this out. If this technology succeeds, we move from restoration to enhancement. Imagine a world where a wealthy subset of the population can afford a tertiary digital cortex. They can download skills, process data at AI speeds, and communicate telepathically. This creates a great cognitive divide that makes our current wealth gap look like a minor rounding error. You would have a species split into the augmented and the naturals. How do you compete for a job against someone who has the entire internet integrated into their working memory? You can't. This forces a society where augmentation isn't a choice, but a requirement for survival. And then there is the nightmare of data sovereignty. Your brain data, your neural patterns, your emotional reactions, your deepest memories, is the final frontier of privacy. If China creates a state-subsidized BCI network, does the state own that data? If you use a Neuralink, Does a corporation own your thoughts? We've already seen how social media algorithms manipulate our behavior just by watching our clicks. Imagine what they could do if they had direct access to your dopamine receptors. The potential for neuromarketing, or even worse, state-level thought surveillance, is not just possible, it is the logical conclusion of the business model. This is one of the hardest topics I have ever covered on Nuvatech, because the benefits are so undeniable, yet the risks are existential. I look at Noland Arbaugh and I see hope, resilience, and the best of human ingenuity. But then I look at the geopolitical roadmap, the rush for data supremacy, and I see a trap. We are walking toward a line in the sand where we have to decide if our internal mental space is something we are willing to commercialize. I want to know where you stand on this. If you could install a chip today that guaranteed you perfect memory and instant skill acquisition, but it meant giving a corporation access to your neural data, would you do it? Is the upgrade worth the loss of privacy? Let me know in the comments. I have a feeling this is going to be a heated debate. If you value these deep dives into the future that is rushing towards us, hit that like button and subscribe to Nuvatech. We're going to keep tracking the story as it evolves because, frankly, I don't think we can afford to look away. Stay curious, stay critical, and I'll see you in the next one.
Okay, and this devil is going to present it as if you don't merge with this machinery, if you don't start to get, you know, this devil, he's gonna begin to push that if you don't merge with this technology, okay, you're gonna get left behind. That's gonna be one of his pitches, okay, to get people herded into, all right, this digital system. That's why I always push the AI is gonna be this much smarter. People are gonna be irrelevant. That's why I say like you're gonna have the naturals and super niggas and he's gonna push it as if you don't merge, you're gonna be irrelevant. Okay, and we have to understand this nigga is lying about a lot of these things that AI is gonna be able to do. AI can do some things, and he has some AI that we haven't seen. But he lies too. He exaggerates too, man. Okay, and I'm gonna go into a point. But first, Yahweh Shah put us on game about this guy. It said, "For there shall arise false, anointed, false messiahs and false prophets." Okay, because he's going to present. Of course, you got niggas on the internet, talking about Queen of Sheba, and you already got the mark, and you got that aspect of false prophets. But then Esau Edom is the ultimate false prophet. And he's going to present himself as the ultimate savior through his technology, man. Okay? It says, and shall show great signs and wonders. See, he's going to show great signs and wonders. He's going to show you this what the future looks like. Okay? This is how it's going to be. Take this, get this. Or you're going to be irrelevant. And it's all false, man. It says, in so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. And when you read this in the NLT, okay, because this is what this devil is doing, man. He's bringing out these lying signs and wonders, and he's pushing. Look, if you don't get on board, you're going to be through. You're going to be irrelevant in the future. That's a false prophecy, man. It said, for false messiahs and false prophets will rise up and perform great signs and wonders, so as to deceive. Okay, so as to deceive. So that we're watching this man rise up and perform great signs and wonders, so as to deceive, if possible, even the Most High's chosen ones, man. And this is why the Lord told us to watch, man. Okay, we're gonna get there. Yahweh Shah told us to watch this nigga, man. Because if you don't know what's going on, and then this nigga just whipped this shit out. He just whipped this technology out, man. You can be like, damn. Especially if you've been told that the RFID chip, okay, is not the mark of the beast, and he whipped this technology out, okay, with all his promises, with all his false, because let's go into some of these words, okay, especially when he brings the squeeze down, and he's going to present this as a savior. Okay, so you go into this word false, all right, Messiah, which is pseudo Christos. Okay, and you go into so I want to get this word pseudo. Okay, see, just Christos or pseudo. Yep, it says lying, deceitful, false. Okay, it says untrue, erroneous, deceitful, wicked, false liar. This nigga is lying about, all right, what this AI is going to be able to do, man. Okay, and he see this nigga have one or two people, that he's put this in. Okay, and then all you know is you just see the screen. You don't know this nigga is really controlling this goddamn video game. All right, if this nigga is really playing Mario Kart, man. I don't put nothing past this nigga, man. He just told you you didn't see the surgery. All right, and even if he has done it, okay, and people have this Neuralink, okay, and they're able to control, okay, video games or whatever. All right, the next phase of it, of what he's saying they can do, is to link you with the data centers. All right, is a goddamn lie. All right, and we're gonna use logic to show you this man is a goddamn lie. Okay, so he's going to present this pseudo salvation, false salvation, man. Okay, through this technology. He's going to create the problem. The civil unrest, the economy collapsing. The cyber attacks and all these different things. He's going to create these scenarios, and he's going to present, okay, his technology as a solution. Okay, so let's go into this word here. Because it's the same word as miracles. Okay, it's the same word as miracles. Let me see. When you're reading Revelation 13 and 15, yep, the word Samion, is the same word for miracles, man. All right, so you get this in the Greek.
Strong's G 4592, Semion. Semion.
Okay. Yeah, bro. Esau be capping. He can do some things. Don't get twisted. He can do some shit, but this nigga be exaggerating. All right, and what he's telling you, the public, all right, is never what it is. It's always wrapped in deception, and ultimately, he's just turning the earth into a big science lab. When it comes to this transhumanism, he's selling it a utopia so he can use you for a test dummy, all right, a lab rat, okay, with this technology, man, because he wants to try to tap into immortality on the left hand side, but he's not going to experiment on himself. Okay, see, this new world order will just be the beginning, okay, of him beginning to start to really experiment with trying to tap into immortality on the left hand side, and he's going to use people, okay, as the experiment, the lab rats, man. Okay, so let's go to get this word Samion, okay, which is what it says: a sign, a mark, a token, that which by a person or thing is distinguished from others and is known. Okay, and the fact that this devil is trying to do this, all right, he's distinguished from everyone else because it's the elites of Esau that's behind all this, man. Even what we see in China, it's the elites of Esau that's behind this. Okay, so the fact that this devil is trying to do this, is trying to establish this in the earth. All right, this makes him distinguished, man. Okay, but then you go into this perspective as a sign, a prodigy, a portent, i.e., an unusual occurrence transcending the coming course of nature. Okay, and he's pushing his technology is going to have you to transcend the coming course of nature. All right, that he can enhance what the Most High created. He's going to enhance the creation of the Most High. And this is the same game he came with in the garden, man. Okay, this is the same game that he brought to Eve. All right, as if he was going to transcend her, and then the brain interface Neuralink, he calls it Eve. Okay, this is the same game that he came with to Eve in the garden. Okay, pushing to look what you got now. We're gonna transcend it. Okay, the order you got, your role and your ability and what you allowed to do and not allowed. Look, we're gonna transcend that. I got something that's gonna go above that. Okay, and he's doing this now to the whole world. He's telling them, look, we're gonna transcend. Okay, he's not calling it Mission Genesis for nothing. Okay, so let's go from here. All right. What Yahushua said, this is a trap. Yahushua put us on game and said this was a trap, man. Okay, beware of the trap. All right, so you go to Luke. Okay, chapter 21 and 34. All right, Luke 21 and 34 says, and take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with some fighting, okay, and drunkenness and the cares of this life, man. Okay, we're not here to get entangled with the cares of this life, man. We're called to be watchmen. You look at the life of a watchman, man. A watchman had a very isolated life. He was dedicated to his watch because his watch carried a lot of responsibility, man. So he sacrificed, okay, a lot of his personal life to the watch, okay, because everybody depended on the watchman, all right, to get the heads up of what was coming. You see? So we can't get entangled, okay, with the affairs of this life. Okay, watchmen, they had to be, sober most of the time. Okay, they had shifts, so you had watchmen that were watching shifts just like now. You got brothers, teaching the mornings, afternoons, nighttime, whatever. You see? So you will have shifts, but at the same time, all right, when things were hectic, okay, it requires you to be, work longer shifts. Okay, be gone most of the day. Okay, so a watchman, okay, his life was different than everyone else in the city, man. Okay, so it says, so that that day come upon you unawares, man. Yeah, man. So we don't get caught off guard. All right, because the devil is rolling out. Because there's people. All right, you got our people, man. Because if you're sitting here arguing back and forth and leaving these long ass comments, if you still arguing about marriageable age, or you still all caught up into celebrity gossip and news and beef, and you caught up into Shadur Sanders or whatever, you caught up into these things, man. You don't see this devil rolling this thing out. Okay, you don't see a digital prison being built all around you. Okay, if you caught up into nonsense, man. Okay, so the watchman will have to be, a sober-minded, man. It said, for as a snare shall it come up on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. But this is a snare, because to people, this is going to look enticing. See, this devil, as a hunter, he knows how to entice you. Okay, he knows how to entice you, man. He already has people addicted to his technology, the convenience of his technology, man. People are already in one with their phone. Okay, so the next phase is just putting, all right, the device in you, man. Okay, so this is what this devil is at with it, man. Okay, for as a snare shall it come upon, for as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth, man. The hour of temptation, which is to try the world. Everybody gonna be tried, okay, with bowing the knee, man. We're taking this technology, man. Okay, we're merging with this new system. Everybody's gonna be tried, okay, and tested to go into this new system, man. Okay, which is completely giving yourself to this devil, man. Okay, it says, watch ye therefore and pray always, man. Watch and pray. You know, pray for the Spirit to endure this, man. Pray for the Spirit to, you know, to be faithful to Yahweh Shem Al Shai in the clutch, man. You know, pray for the courage to resist, the patience, the discipline to resist. And that's why we're practicing these things now. Patience, you know, discipline, you know, because even, you know, we fast, but fasting is not just you know, physical thing, but it's a mental thing, you know, denying yourself, you know, completely denying yourself, man. Okay. So that's a mental thing. That's a mental training as well. Okay. It said that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and stand before the Son of Man, man. You know, we're gonna have to resist this system, man. We're gonna have to take a hard stance in righteousness, man, and showcase faith. Okay. In the midst of, you know, losing everything, man. You see, this is what we gotta be prepared to turn away from, is this whole system. You see, Jake trying to give you this watered down breakdown of the sea hill. All right, because Jake don't want to have to deal with, you know, walking away from this. See, Jake is trying to make it seem like you can continue on and participate in this man's system as long as you you know, don't eat no pork. Okay, which is setting a lot of Israelites up for failure. All right. Now I got another video I want to get into. Now, going back to this devil being a lying wonder, saying that, okay, he's gonna put this device, okay, he's gonna implant this device, okay, in your brain, on your brain, okay, this brain implant, okay, and then he's gonna link you to these gigantic data centers to where you're gonna know everything that's on, all right, the internet. Now, think about this. If his data centers are overheating, he needs all this water to stop his data centers from overheating. Okay? But then he's going to put a device in you that's going to hook you to those data centers, and that's going to put all the information, run all the information through your neural system. Okay? What the hell you think that's going to do to your brain, to your mind? The body ain't built for that, to take in all that information like that and have all this storage and data. See, he's presenting it like he just putting a jump drive on your ass. Like it's just gonna be like putting a jump drive on the computer. No, the neural system ain't meant, the human neural system ain't meant to take on all that information, all them, because you gotta think it's gonna be you gotta think, if he connect you to the data center, you're gonna be seeing everything. You're gonna, you know, if he's able to do that, that's gonna open you up to all the data. Look at all the filth that's in the world. Okay, why would you even want all that on the brain interface? And then he got to where you're gonna be in control, to where you can say, I want to learn jujitsu. Okay, you just have it. That nigga lying, man. Okay, that ain't how that work. Okay, I want to learn this recipe, and you just pull it up through your mind. That ain't how that work, man. That nigga lying. If his data centers is overheating, okay, and they need millions of gallons of water, okay, what you think is gonna do to your mind if he hook your mind to the data center, man? Okay, that don't work like that. Okay, that nigga making that up. You see, but he's going to persuade a lot of people by that concept. Okay, just think about it. If his data centers are overheating, just think about it now. You know, just like when we try to think about immortality, and it's like we straining, you know, or you try to think about a lot of things at once, you know, you can get a headache. You know, you gotta, you know, you just gotta stop, you gotta slow down, you know. You gotta, like, damn, you know, like you got a lot on your mind. Okay, just imagine the feeling when you got a lot on your mind, a lot of things happen. Okay, so imagine, okay, putting the whole data center, connecting your mind to the whole data center, all that data that those data centers have, man. Okay, and you think you're just gonna be able to pull the data you want from it. Okay, this nigga lying, man. All right, and he just gonna be experimenting on people. Okay, so right now with this brain interface, let's go here. Because you got China, all right. You got this guy here. Let's just watch this guy. All right, this is all part of the line wonders, man. Okay, but this nigga talking about, you know, merging your mind to these data centers, man. That don't work like that. Okay, that's why we gotta get new bodies. Okay, to really get the full extent of the blessing that the Lord has for us, man. We gotta get new bodies, man. That's capable of all that, you know, that knowledge and wisdom and that data. Okay, we're gonna have to get new bodies. Okay, and this devil try to put, it's like trying to put a you know, a jet engine, okay, in a Honda, man. It don't work. They don't work like that, man. Okay, and this is what the devil is telling you that he's finna start doing, man. Okay, and me personally, I don't think, you know, beyond what he's doing right here, you know, with them able to play video games and, you know, whatever, you know, yeah, and he might be able to do a little more, but the full extent what he's talking about, nah, man, he can't do that, man. You know, it don't work like that. So let's play this.
又不起来呢？这么躺8年你不累呀？你快起来吧。走。走。这个变形了，得扛他呢，疼的直哭，疼的一宿一宿不睡觉。不光我变形了，他这边他这里头全变形了，这边变形了，搁这边扛。 干的漂亮，非常默契。当时大夫就放弃吧，以后就是也没什么机会，那能放弃吗？就在想怎么能帮助孩子。听说哪嘎达对脊椎损伤治疗的有效果，头一天晚上8点多钟接到消息，这一宿几乎没睡觉，第二天早上出发看一看，咱这种情况根本就受不了。 我们就回头路，
这也不想在床上一躺躺一辈子。等我要好了，我爸妈就不用挨这么多累了。这8年半也挺不容易。
我看到希望了，就没有恩人来了。
头这个地方会打一个很小的一个切口，看完之后，我们会把差不多3公分长的电极贴在房子表面，就不用像你看那个马斯克要扎进去那种，对它的2公分会更高一点。
是
电极的位置是最关键的，位置再定好，然后我们切割设计。
我给1年的时间，儿子安安全全领回来。我就希望中国医学各方面超过马斯克呀。
现在工作就是精炼，让它操控这个小球变得更加灵活，速度也更快、更精准。
最开始是乱动，每天要比前天好一点，很开心。
Neuralink 第一例患者去实现成手召唤时，大概用了2周左右的时间。我们此前的患者比较快的，用1周之内能完成。建德这次大概差不多用了4天。自己去遥控这个轮椅，看看怎么样。如果他遥控轮椅能控得很好，我再让他自己坐上去，自己控，一步一步来。
三亚抓，站下。
一会儿你来个石头剪刀布能不能做到？
那个手指应该和程度都让人实现更多的档次。
你想对你妈妈比个什么手势？
点赞吗？这是
点赞就行。
哎，我在哪？我怎么跑这么快？我骑着呢。我要给我打平了，给我打平了。
再有一个，哎，又打一个了，10个了。
这是又打赢我了吗？
对啊。
你知道他每天可盼着跟你们在一起工作，可盼了，天天早上几点，下午几点，一到大礼拜他就很难熬，他不想歇这2天，有一点进步都可不行，看到希望了。
自己能做一些能做的东西，能拿个水，能吃个饭，可以行走。
8年多的道全走了，震惊全世界。
You see, and to them, that's a miracle, man. You know, and Moab is just, you know, he just right there lockstep, you know, with Esau, with this new world order. You know, that's why scriptures say what they say about, you know, Moab. Okay. But yeah, man, Esau pushed this technology like he just got it all figured out, you know. And Lord, we I can look up, you know, the damages, okay, of that Neuralink, what it does to the mind. All right, because he shows you the good parts. You know, there's no different from these commercials, these prescriptions where they tell you you can do this, and the people walking around happy, smiling on the beach, pushing the grandson on the swing, and, you know, but then all those side effects at the end. You know, you know, Esau technology is flawed. Okay, his technology is flawed, man, but he pushes like he got this thing figured out, man. He don't. Okay, this nigga be guessing. He can do some things, you know, he can do some things and like, damn, you know, he got some shit, you know, he's, you know, the Lord blessed this man on the left-hand side. So he has some things, okay? But then it comes to a point where this devil started exaggerating and he gets experimenting in line, okay? You know, with certain things, all right? There's certain things that he got some shit that, you know, especially when it comes to military, like he got some things that, you know, just gonna go get it. You see, but then when it comes to him trying to be the Most High, you know, he be experimenting and you know, he get to exaggerate, man. Okay, but to them, that's a miracle. Okay, to the masses, you know, this man is a miracle. You know, people are in awe at this guy. Okay, so let's go here. Let's get this in the book. Okay, Revelation, the 13th chapter. Okay, when you go to verse 15, okay, it says that he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. Okay, and Esau, Edom, he has revived, you know, that Greco-Roman Empire back in the earth. All right, to, you know, from the culture, okay, until, you know, the architecture, okay, the arts, okay, the entertainment. You see, and now he's taking it a step further with this technology. Okay, to where now the idols of this, all right, of this Greco-Roman Empire, they can speak, they can move, not just statues. Okay, so this man has given life, okay, into the image of the beast. Okay, to now they're gonna say the idols can move now. You know, they can listen, they can hear. You see, it says that the image of the beast shall both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Okay, now let's say we know the word "killed." A definition goes into, you know, actually being put to death, but also separated. You know, so if you don't worship the image, all right, if you don't accept this technology, you don't merge with this technology, you're gonna be separated from, okay, participating in this man's society. And then it's gonna get to a point to where it is gonna be punishable by death for not having it. That's why you have Revelation 20, you had those beheaded, okay, for not bending the knee for the testimony of Yahushua. Okay, so it's going to get to that point. But then you get to verse 16, it says that he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. See, he was seeing this John the Revelator. He's seen the brain chips. You know, he's seen the RFID microchip going in people's hands. He's seen people getting neural links. Okay, brain chip interface, BCI. He's seen this technology being implemented in the earth, man. Okay. And this is what he was seeing. When we're looking at it happen in real time, this is what he was seeing, man. You can't separate the two. Okay. And if your teacher is not explaining what this man is doing real time through prophecy, man, hey, the spirit ain't on him, man. That's a false prophet. There's no way you can ignore what this man is doing real time. Okay. Now let's go here because you have this going on in the Marshall Islands. You know, people have been talking about UBI. You know, UBI has been a lot of talk. So this devil, okay, he's piloting the UBI over here in what you call the Marshall Islands. You know, so a lot of Japhet over there. You know, but it's you know, of course, you know Jake in the mix, but mainly Japhet is an island over there between Australia and Hawaii. Okay, so I'm gonna get to the point. So it said Marshall Island rolls out universal basic income with crypto. Okay, and what this devil doing, this is a pilot. Okay, we're gonna go into what a pilot is. All right, after the video, but let's play this. You know, see what they got going on over here. You know, the Marshall Islands. You know, let's play this.
Key takeaways: Marshall Islands launches UBI with crypto and traditional payment options. Payments aim to boost inclusion without replacing jobs. Most recipients still choose banks or checks over digital wallets. Under the initiative,
so what you have, all right, Marshall Island is rolling out the UBI, and payment started last month. Okay, so this, I think they're gonna get it quarterly. Now it's a small amount, all right, but these devils are just piloting, okay, a UBI system. You know, they've done it before in other places. Marshall Island is just the latest. So what they have is you have the option to either, you know, get a check, okay, either get a direct deposit, or you can start your digital wallet. Okay, so they slide the crypto in there. Okay, so people have the option, you know, with this UBI, all right, to either get, you know, a check, all right, a direct deposit, you know, to their account, or they can get a crypto wallet. They can start them a crypto wallet. Okay, they threw that option in there, but they get people prepped for the digital currency. Esau is rolling this thing out, man. Okay, he's talking while Trump is up there, you know, signing executive orders and talking about this and AI acceleration. Well, guess what? They're rolling this thing out. Okay, so this is what's happening down there in the Marshall Islands, man.
Every resident citizen is entitled to quarterly payments of roughly $200, or about $800 annually, as the government seeks to offset rising living costs and slow outward migration, according to a report from The Guardian. The first payments were distributed in late November, with recipients given the option to receive funds through bank deposits, paper checks, or a government-backed digital wallet that delivers payments on the blockchain. Marshall Islands says UBI aims to boost inclusion, not replace work. Finance Minister David Paul said the scheme was designed to ensure broad inclusion rather than replace employment income. We, the government, want to make sure no one is left behind, Paul told The Guardian, adding that the payments are intended to act as a social safety net and a morale boost rather than a substitute for work. The Marshall Islands, a Pacific nation of around 42,000 people located between Hawaii and Australia, faces unique economic and geographic challenges. Many communities are spread across remote atolls, complicating the delivery of public services and financial assistance. Officials say the cryptocurrency option was introduced to help overcome those logistical barriers. The program is funded through a trust established under a long-standing agreement with the United States, partly aimed at compensating the Marshall Islands for decades of U.S. nuclear testing. The fund holds more than 1.3.
Do you hear this devil, man? Okay. Do you hear this devil? Now, this UBI is not meant to replace income from working. It's just meant to be a subsidy by the government. Okay, well, this is the elites. Okay, testing the UBI system out. Okay, testing crypto and digital currency. Okay, this is the elites piloting this thing out. Okay, the local government of the Marshall Islands, this ain't nothing that they came up with in the city council meeting. Okay, no, the elites are just using this, all right, because the government of the Marshall Islands, all right, are under the umbrella of the American government. Okay, when you go into their history. Okay, and here it is. They're saying this is compensation from nuclear testing. Nigga, you were testing because they were testing nukes out there in the Marshall Islands. I looked up a video going to the history of it. They were actually testing nukes out there. All right, people were suffering from radiation. The whole environment was suffering, man. Okay, but then this nigga's gonna give you $800 a year and say this is compensation for the nuclear testing we did. Boy, this nigga though, he's the devil, man. Okay, let's play some more.
$1 billion in assets, with Washington committed to contributing an additional $500 million through 2027. Dr. Hui Pham, an associate professor and crypto fintech lead at RMIT University, said the initiative represents a global first. This is the world's first national rollout of a UBI program, he said, noting that the use of blockchain technology at a countrywide level is highly unusual. The crypto payments are made using a US dollar-pegged stablecoin, a choice officials say provides price stability while allowing fast, traceable transfers across hundreds of islands. Still, uptake of the digital option remains limited. According to the Marshall Islands Social Security Administration, about 60% of the first payments were made via bank deposits, with most of the remainder issued as checks. Only around a dozen people have opted to receive their UBI through the digital wallet so far. Sam Altman's World aspires to create a global UBI mechanism. Sam Altman's World, originally launched as WorldCoin, has also positioned its blockchain initiative as a path toward a global UBI mechanism. The project's core idea is to verify each person's unique human identity using biometric scans. The Orb device creates a world ID that proves the user is real and not a bot, enabling fair distribution of its native token, WLD. Verified users receive allocations of WLD, which some view as a form of UBI within the network, aimed at expanding financial inclusion and economic participation worldwide. World also launched WorldChain and Ethereum Layer 2 blockchain last year. The network serves its 15 million verified users with a World ID obtained via iris scanning. Follow us on Google News, Trending News, recommended popular crypto topics price predictions.
So yeah, man, you got that going on the Marshall Islands, and it's just the devil piloting, okay, the UBI, okay, crypto, digital currency, okay, and it's just hurting people, all right. He just getting people to trust this new system as if it's there to benefit them. So if you already working, and you got your your little income. Okay, so extra little $200 that pop up, 4 times out the year. It's like cool, but it gets you to trust. You see, when you don't know that this nigga, all right, is the devil, you don't understand, fully what he's doing. You're not in the know. Okay, you're gonna begin to trust this devil, man. Like he's for your good. Okay, but I want to get this word pilot. And what does it mean to pilot something? Okay, it says to pilot something means to steer, to guide, or lead it, either literally, like flying a plane, or figuratively, like guiding, all right, like guiding a new project or idea, often involving a small-scale test, okay, a pilot, to see if it works before a full launch. Okay, it says, or figuratively, like guiding a new project or idea, this new world order, this digital currency, okay, what they have going on, in China. Okay, they had the thing full blown. Okay, to where China, they're just ready for the sea hit. You know, they're right there to where they just get to see here because they got the infrastructure already with the social credit system. Okay, it says to see if it works before a full launch, man. You know, so this devil, he's piloting this thing, man. You know, he's trying to hear, you know, he's trying this over there, trying this over here. All right, and eventually he gonna go full launch. Okay, so we just, you know, watching this devil. Okay, and I got one more video I want to show, you know, because they're constantly, you know, pushing the digital ID as well. You know, right now in America, it's the real ID. You know, you got to have that to travel. Okay, but eventually, you know, the devil, because the digital ID is his way of onboarding everybody to the system. You know, he needs to link your identity to this infrastructure. Okay, he wants to link your identity to this infrastructure, man. All right, so the digital ID will just be a onboard in preparation for the MOTB, which is the RFID microchip. Okay, so you have this real ID, you know, that's being required in, okay, America. Okay, but then eventually it can go to a digital ID, or it might skip and go straight to the C hill. We don't know. Okay, we're gonna watch this nigga, man, and see. Okay, so let's play this.
You will need a real ID to travel by air. Politicians push government IDs, and many want more. Will we become like Europe? There, many politicians push government-mandated digital IDs that tie your identity to nearly everything you do.
Putting an end to anonymity.
You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID.
Many American tech leaders like it too. The second richest man in the world is blunt about why.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
We want everyone to be a sheep and just conform and toe the line and never push back. That is a recipe for disaster and totalitarianism.
Naomi Brockwell, who runs this tech privacy channel, says government-mandated digital IDs are dangerous.
Privacy is not about hiding. It's about an individual's right to decide for themselves who gets access to their data. And what a digital ID will do is it will strip individuals of that choice.
A lot of countries are already imposing these digital IDs. You have the UK, Australia, Switzerland.
Switzerland will introduce an electronic ID.
Is this the wave of the future?
This is the way of the entire globe, all moving towards centralized data hubs. That gets really scary for individual liberty.
I already have a government-issued ID. Why is a digital one worse?
It connects everything, your financial decisions to your social media posts, to your likes, to the things that you're watching, to the places that you're going. You won't be able to voice things anonymously online anymore. Everything you say will be tied back to who you are.
Governments do have a good reason for it.
The Prime Minister believes this is an important weapon in his armoury to tackle illegal immigration.
It's going to save us all and we'll be happier and we'll have rainbows and sunshine forever. And the problem is they end up being tools for control.
But digital ID backers say the new ID will make things easier for us.
It means that you can access your own money, make payments so much more easily.
These digital IDs will just be so convenient.
Really convenient until they're not. Until those services start saying, no, you can't use our system.
Hundreds of police officers moved in on protesters in Ottawa.
We've already seen governments do just that.
If your truck is being used in these protests, your corporate accounts will be frozen.
Even without a digital ID, Canada was able to punish truckers who protested COVID vaccine mandates.
They locked up my personal and trucking business accounts.
With a digital ID, politicians could do that much more easily.
You're essentially putting a giant target on every aspect of your life, bundling it all together, wrapping up in a nice bow and saying, here, if you want to control me, just untie this. That's essentially what a digital ID is.
Now, in the US,
you have states already voting to put permission slips in front of websites to say you need to provide government documentation and access this social media platform.
Now you need an ID to watch porn, but no ID to vote.
Proponents say this will protect kids.
Age verification is the best way to protect children from online harms.
Unfortunately, politicians...
And they love to talk about protecting children, man. You know, they just throw that in there. You know, it's all about protecting the children.
Just can't promise that it will only ever be used for that. You always have governments with these great sounding bills that are called the "let's stop all the bad people doing all the bad things" bill. And people say, well, I want to stop all the bad people doing all the bad things. But what they're voting for is a system of control and oppression.
Elites seem excited about this control.
It is very necessary for financial services. But not only.
Sure.
You know, it's also good for school enrollment. It's also good for health, who actually got a vaccination or not.
All of the books you want to read and the things you want to eat and the places you want to go, all of this suddenly becomes part of a permissioned system. And you will be ranked based on past activities that you've undertaken and choices that you've made.
China already does that.
Everywhere she goes, Ouyang Haoyu is followed. What she buys, how she behaves, is tracked and scored.
Some Chinese people claim they like it.
I think being ranked is a good thing. It forces us to be well behaved.
If they're not,
The cinema names and shames people considered untrustworthy, plastering their details, even their addresses, across big screens.
those with low social credit scores can be denied entry into school.
Moab, simple as. All right. And these heathens need to be ruled over, man. All these heathens need to be ruled over, okay, by a righteous government of the sons of God, man, beginning with Yahushua, okay? But why the hell, okay, they putting your picture up there to shame you, okay? Why are they putting your address up there? What type of madness is that, man? Okay? This is a very wicked, you know, tacky, and that's gonna turn out terrible, man. You putting people addresses up there, man. Okay, that's crazy, man. You see, you play it again, man. That's crazy.
Goes, Ouyang Haoyu is followed. What she buys, how she behaves, is tracked and scored.
Some Chinese people claim they like it.
I think being ranked is a good thing. It forces us to be well behaved.
If they're not,
The cinema names and shames people considered untrustworthy, plastering their details, even their addresses, across big screens.
those with low social credit scores can be denied entry into schools or lose access to travel.
He tried to buy a train ticket and was told he was banned from traveling.
Do we look like China? No.
It's a reason some Europeans resist these IDs.
Everybody knows that if you have all of your information in one place, then you are a slave. You have no freedom of privacy, no freedom of speech, no freedom of nothing.
It makes you super easy to target. It makes you super easy to silence if suddenly you become problematic. Whoever controls that data has a lot of power, and we're simply handing it to them. People need to be aware that they have no control over who will get access to this tool and who will control this tool in future.
Facebook, Google, Chase Bank, they already have my data. Shouldn't I trust my government more?
Governments, unlike companies, can throw you in jail.
You sound like a conspiracy theorist.
It's not conspiracy, it's already happening.
This is one of 30 arrests a day for social media posts.
In Great Britain, politicians already arrest people for speech they don't like. And sadly, the US is moving in that direction. All right, but this is America. We're not going to become China.
We are skyrocketing towards that direction. The surveillance infrastructure we're trying to put in place in the United States is heading directly towards where China currently is.
So what can we do about it?
People need to be reminded that they're empowered to actually affect that change. They can reach out to representatives. They can push back, protect themselves, and not build this infrastructure in the first place.
Exactly. Because once we hand politicians that power, they can use it for anything.
Yeah, man. So this is where this is headed. Like she said. All right. It's skyrocketing, you know, towards China, what China has set up, you know, and that's why we, you know, touch on China, you know, from time to time, all right, to go into what they got going on. Now, let's see. So let's go here. All right. So at the end of the day, the devil, okay, just has to be stopped. Okay. So let's go here, Revelation 19. And we'll end it here. You know, and this is our hope. You know, because they speak about you know, go to your city council and stop them from setting up the infrastructure. Is way beyond that now. Okay, way beyond that. Okay. these elites are fully, okay, entrenched, okay, into the government, to where the government works for them. All right. We need a solution from on high. So this Revelation 19 and 11, it says, and I saw heaven open, all right, which is, you know, the atmosphere, the sky opening. Yahushua coming into this realm. Okay. It says, and behold, a white horse, a chariot, and fathership, and he that sat upon him, which is Yahushua, was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. So we have a righteous judge that's coming to the earth, man. That's Yahushua, our King. Okay, he's coming to judge this earth in righteousness and make war with the wicked, all right, and these heathen, man. Okay, that's a solution to it all. All right, outside of that, you know, ain't no solution. Okay, so that's the point. You know, just wanted to get into that, Lord will. All right, you brothers. All right, and you sisters was edified once again. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushua Bahashem Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples for his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful, Shalom.